All right, let's just dive right into this. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're breaking down one of the most intense, high-stakes psychological challenges I have ever seen. We're looking at the wild journey of a woman named Alison, who literally agreed to spend 30 consecutive days physically chained to a series of complete strangers. But here's the thing. This isn't just some physical endurance test. It is fundamentally a real-time experiment in the mechanics of trust. We're going to analyze exactly how Alison navigated this crazy environment, the behavioral tests she unknowingly and sometimes very knowingly administered, and the ultimate agonizing decisions she had to make. So get ready, because human psychology is rarely put under this kind of microscope.
I want you to really put yourself in Alison's shoes for a second. Could you actually spot a liar if your own financial future was on the line? Imagine this. You're tethered to someone you just met. You're sharing meals, you're sleeping in the exact same room, you're navigating daily life without a single moment of privacy. Now imagine you have to figure out if that person is genuinely trying to help you or if they're secretly plotting to totally betray you at the very last second. It is an absolute pressure cooker. And as we go through this explainer, I want you to ask yourself how your own radar for deception would hold up under that kind of stress.
And here is exactly why those stakes are sky high. $250,000. That is the massive prize pool hanging in the balance here. Every single conversation Alison has, every joke she shares, every tiny interaction with these strangers is shadowed by this staggering amount of money. I mean, it's enough to completely change someone's life, and as we know from basic human psychology, that kind of cash can act as an incredible motivator for deception. It's literally the ultimate temptation.
Because at the core of this whole challenge is a massive dilemma. At the end of the 30 days, the final stranger who remains chained to Alison is going to be presented with a secret choice. They can choose to split the money, meaning they and Alison both walk away with a life-changing amount, or they can choose to steal the money, leaving Alison with absolutely nothing. This is classic game theory brought to life. Alison's entire goal over these 30 days is to find the one single person she can be absolutely certain will hit that split button.
Section 1. The variables. Meeting the strangers. Let's break down the different personalities Alison was forced to evaluate.
Looking at this timeline brilliantly illustrates just how relentless her journey was. Basically, every 5 days, Alison had to pick a new stranger to be chained to, and she had to do it based entirely on their physical appearance before even speaking a word to them. On day 1, she chose Bryce the biker. Day 5, it was Skylar the cheerleader. Day 10 brought Juan the construction worker. Day 15 was Jason the cowboy. And finally, on day 20, Bree the globe-trotting basketball player. Every 5 days, Alison's progress in building trust was completely reset to zero. She had to adapt to a new personality, a totally new communication style, and a brand new potential threat over and over again. But you know, it wasn't just the people that kept changing. Look at these environments. The organizers were constantly shifting the physical surroundings just to keep Alison totally off balance and test her psychological endurance. She starts out in a basic tiny house. Then, boom, she's suddenly transported to a grocery store where other contestants are trying to survive. After that, her house literally has a plane dropped on it, forcing her to live in a slanted, crashed fuselage. Finally, she's moved to this colorful set built for a completely different weight loss challenge. The environment was never stable, meaning Alison's only anchor in this whole thing was the stranger she happened to be chained to.
Which brings us to Section 2, the methodology. Testing for trust. How do you actually test if someone is going to steal $250,000 from you?
So, I'm asking you again, who is actually telling the truth here? As we go through these next few examples, I want you to actively play along with us. We're going to look at 3 specific interactions Alison had with her strangers. Listen closely for the verbal tells, the little slip-ups, the bold declarations, and try to decide for yourself who was genuinely planning to split that money and who is secretly harboring a plan to steal it all.
Okay, let's start with Skylar, the cheerleader from day 5. Now, Alison and Skylar, they seemed to hit it off immediately. They were acting like instant best friends. But then, while playing this totally casual guessing game, Skylar accidentally blurts out, $250? Keep in mind, she wasn't supposed to know or even mention the prize amount in that context. This accidental slip-up is basically forensic psychological evidence. In a pure moment of distraction, Skylar revealed that the specific prize number was actively burning at the top of her mind. Alison's radar immediately went off. She realized Skylar might be getting way too comfortable, and that slip-up indicated a potential hidden fixation on stealing the full amount.
Now, contrast that massive slip-up with Juan, the construction worker from day 10.
When Alison asks Juan about the money, he looks her dead in the eye and delivers this incredibly earnest declaration. He says, "Never I steal anything. No food, no money, nothing." Plus, Juan opens up and explains he has 6 children he's trying to support. Alison had just shared that her own father had recently been diagnosed with dementia, and she wanted the money to take care of her family. So this created this profound emotional mirror. Juan wasn't just saying words, his motivation aligned perfectly with Alison's own lived experience, which made his promise feel incredibly grounded and authentic.
And then, oh man, we have Bree on day 20. Bree was highly competitive and realized she needed to make a drastic move to really earn Alison's trust. So Bree uses a highly aggressive trust-building tactic. She shows Alison a literal tattoo on her body that says promise and uses it to swear she won't backstab her. She tells Alison, "I never break promises." That is a fascinating behavioral maneuver, right? Using a permanent physical marker to try and absolutely guarantee a future action. It's a bold move, but as an observer, you really have to wonder, is that a genuine reflection of character, or is it just a total masterclass in manipulation?
All right, Section 3, the climax, the elimination game. On day 25, the organizers pulled the ultimate twist, bringing all 5 strangers back into the exact same room. Now, all of her trust tests are being put to a final, rapid-fire verdict.
But here is the late-game payout twist that just beautifully complicates the game theory for Alison. The host reveals that every eliminated stranger is actually still going to walk away with cash. The first person Alison eliminates gets $10,000. The second gets $20,000. The third gets $30,000, and the fourth gets $40,000. This meant the order of elimination suddenly mattered immensely. Alison decided she was going to eliminate people from least trustworthy to most trustworthy. By eliminating her biggest perceived threat first, she was ensuring that the potential backstabber walked away with the absolute smallest possible payout of $10,000, rather than a much larger chunk of change.
So the crucial point is, who was the absolute least trustworthy? Who was the biggest risk? Alison stands in front of this lineup and makes her hardest choice. She points to Jason, the cowboy from day 15, and eliminates him first. By doing this, she locks him into that lowest payout of $10,000. The tension in that room just completely skyrockets. Did Alison make the right call? Was the cowboy actually planning to betray her?
To understand her decision, we got to look back at a highly specific verbal hesitation. See, when Alison had originally asked Jason if he would split the money with her, he didn't give her a flat, confident yes. Instead, he stumbled a bit and said, "As of right now, I would." And as Jason admitted much later, he had mentally held on to the caveat, "unless things change." Alison's intuition had flagged this exact hesitation. She recognized that Jason left himself a psychological backdoor. He never fully committed, and that made him the ultimate liability in a game for $250,000. And guys, Alison's attention to detail paid off massively. When the host finally cuts Jason's chain, they reveal the secret choice he had already locked in. Jason had chosen steal. Absolutely crazy, right? If Alison had kept Jason around until the very end, he would have taken all $250,000, and Alison would have been left with absolutely nothing. Her methodology actually worked. She successfully sniffed out the backstabber just by trusting her gut and reading the subtle, tiny verbal cues he leaked during their time chain together.
It's an incredible testament to how much information we give away when we think we're playing it totally safe. Alison's journey proves that trust isn't just some vague feeling. It's a hyperactive process of constant evaluation. So I'm going to leave you with this final, lingering thought based on everything we've uncovered today. If you were stripped of your privacy, chained to a complete stranger in ever-changing environments, and suddenly handed the power to take $250,000 all for yourself, what would your moral compass tell you to do? Would you split or would you steal? Think about it. Thanks for joining me on this explainer. And hey, keep your eyes open. You never know when you might need to spot a bluff.